My friends, good day. Just look at a news story that sums up the state of the country. Really, sometimes just in a single headline. It's like when, for example, in Paris, there's a very Parisian news story. You can't get more Parisian. There's a homeless, undocumented person, North African, actually Tunisian, who is gay and who killed a certain number of people. Partners, most likely, who were found in the Seine. Last I heard, they recovered probably four or five. You see what I mean? That's news that feels raw. It smells of the land, it smells of Paris, doesn't it? Here, I'm showing news that feels distinctly British. Sometimes just the headline tells you where you are. So, the Baroness, right? The Baroness of the Bra has to pay back 122 million pounds sterling. So what's the story with the Baroness of the Bra? Let me tell you. First of all, the Baroness, that tells you we're in a caste-based country without a written constitution. People mention the British Constitution, but it doesn't actually exist in written form. Actually, it depends, doesn't it, on how they think, how the dominant caste thinks. So their ideas, their current sensibilities, that's the Constitution. So here what we have is a Baroness. So here, noble titles are still current. It's not like in France where they still exist. Hello, Mr. Viscount, and so on. But those are old titles that no longer have any. It's more about folklore and tradition. But here, there are people who have titles and it fits into a tradition in laws that sometimes date back more than 1,000 years, which grant them a certain number of privileges. So we're in a society of privileges. So the people who have these titles, well, are becoming more and more vain, aren't they? Here, this is the Baroness of the Bra. Why? Because this Baroness left and created a lingerie brand, right? Here's the story. She started a lingerie brand. I'll show you her. This is her. And then she made money. How? She made money during COVID. So during COVID, what did she do? The Baroness of the Bra, well, she was contracted, so she had no experience in that, but she was contracted to supply masks to public hospitals. Isn't that right? So we have an army of civil servants, we have an army of people who are paid by the state, and not a single one of them is able to pick up the phone, contact the Chinese manufacturers, and ask them for masks for the hospitals. No, we absolutely have to go through the Baroness of the Bra. So the famous Baroness, right? So she signed contracts. Well, these were contracts that were provided through WhatsApp. Usually you had to use the very important person route and know the right people. But as the Baroness, you know everyone. Basically, they just gave you public contracts. There are bartenders who got public contracts with companies registered the day before, right? That's what it was used for. It's very important. You need to know that. So the yacht, she's photographed on her yacht. She has 6 houses, right? And so there you go. So she took a lot of money. Then, of course, they provided garbage. Sometimes nothing at all, and sometimes containers when we opened them. Well, it contained trash. It contained rotten masks stuck together, dirty, dripping with chemicals and so on, which were worthless. And of course, billions. Look, today the United Kingdom is collapsing over a £50 billion debt, just so you know. They're attacking everyone. They're taxing retirees, taxing schools, taxing private insurance, taxing practically everything. They're driving businesses away. They're creating mass unemployment. Aren't they? With taxation for a 50 billion hole in the budget, just to give you an idea. According to initial estimates, COVID cost 330 billion, okay? Just to give you a sense of scale. So there you have it, those people right there. As you can see here, 6 houses, 15 cars, a private jet, there's the 40-meter yacht and everything. That's what it was used for. So we have a country that's being plundered, isn't it, by this caste? And we don't see the end of it. We don't see the end. That's why I left. I don't want to pay for the elite, you understand? I don't want to tighten my belt to give them money. So that's it. That said, I'll tell you something surprising. I felt good here. Honestly, I felt good. I felt at home in a way. Honestly, I was very nostalgic. I'm just thinking like that. I tell myself it's good here, but it would be nice if they weren't ruining this country. But suddenly, as I was lost in nostalgia, and right there in front of me, I swear I saw something today. I can't make this up. You know what I mean? I write books, but I could never have imagined this. Well, there was a hearse in front of me. There was a hearse with a coffin inside, but the hearse had something special that struck me. Actually, it was an electric hearse. I assure you, you can Google it. I just saw it. You can go Google it. You should be able to find it. There's a funeral company that's driving around today in an electric hearse. It's the Tesla of hearses. So the guy, he's taken to his final resting place in silence. He leaves with 0 carbon. Although if you look in the book Astrology, electric cars are not at all 0 carbon like people say. But it's a huge amount of carbon. It might even reach or exceed that of a gasoline car. So what was I trying to say? So today is my last day. I'm going to go home. I'm going to go back home. There you go. It feels really strange. Actually, I'll tell you why it feels so strange, and I'll tell you why I enjoyed it. You know why I enjoyed it? I'll tell you why. Because when you visit here and you don't live here, I don't live here anymore now. Well, you see the positive sides, even the negative sides, for example, in a very silly way. They allow work on a main road, and at the same time, they allow work on secondary roads that could have been alternative routes. And then they create an unbelievable mess. And then during rush hour, the city is completely locked down. Cars are bumper to bumper, forming a massive parking lot, so you try to escape. You're going to find roadblocks, signs, construction, all that, you see. That kind of thing. Back then, it was part of my life, and it's true that it was stressful. Today, I don't care, but it's their tradition. That's how they are. There you go, you see. I also see some positives. People here are much more courteous and respectful than elsewhere. People are very nice. They flash their headlights to let you go, let you ahead at checkout, and even say, go ahead of me. All that very nice things. You see, people are like that. There's this attitude that I really like. But you see, aside from that, I had to leave. It's not, I'm just here for a few more hours. I think by the time you watch this video, I'll already be on a plane, flying across the sky as far away from Europe as possible. That's me. Sorry it came to this. Our elites chose to destroy everything. Honestly, people are very brave, whether it's the French, the British, all of them. They're really good people. And if you look at it fundamentally, they have what it takes to make countries with truly extraordinary quality of life. At the top, they've decided it's over, that the game is finished. Thank you for watching this video up to this point. Let me remind you, I'm a terrible marketer. I waited until the end to say everyone is gone. Now, no one remains. Thank you, my friends. See you in the next video, which probably won't be here. You'll see. I'll keep it a surprise for you. See you very soon.